In today's market, we have many buyers, sellers, and investors who are sitting on the sideline waiting for the opportune time to buy, to make a move. And the reality is this, is that many of them are simply following the headlines of the day, which by the way, are never going to be accurate to their specific situation, nor are they going to necessarily serve them. You as a real estate professional need to know exactly how to interpret the market and be able to then relay that information to your clients to give them the best opportunity of making the right decision for them. Today's guest is going to help us get into that exactly as to what key indicators you should be looking at to where you can speak not in generalities, but in specifics about helping your clients to actually make the right move for them. Today's guest is absolutely fabulous, world renowned. It's going to be a great episode today. I can't wait to share him with you. I can't wait to share this episode with you, and stay with us, folks. It's going to be a great one. The big question is this: how do those of us in the real estate industry with crazy amounts of ambition, how do we think bigger than the building of our own empires? How do we simultaneously seek success and significance, income and impact? My name is Justin Stoddard, and this is the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Welcome back, everybody. Excited to introduce today's guest. He's a repeat guest. I had him on several years ago. His name is Prefontaine. He is 31 years in the real estate space. He's the chairman and founder of Smart Real Estate Coach, a 4 times best-selling author. I've read at least one of his books, a Forbes Business Council member, a 3X Inc. 5000 honoree, host of the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast, ranked in the top 0.5% globally, along with Joe Vitale, collaborated to assist fellow entrepreneurs. Excited about today's topic. Again, not only are we going to be talking about what I promised you there, we're also going to be talking about how a realtor can excel in a market where many are going out of business or struggling. We're going to be talking about how to navigate a slower real estate market and really how to find opportunity where others aren't seeing it. Chris, such a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thanks for being here, my friend.
I'm psyched to be back, buddy. Let's dive in, and hopefully we'll share some good nuggets in the meantime.
Let's go, man. Your resume is impressive, and I so much have enjoyed getting to know you and your team over the years. Let's dive in, Chris. Let me ask this question. What are the key indicators that a real estate professional should know to be able to properly communicate and educate their clients on what is the right situation for the clients that they're serving at that time?
I have a couple thoughts, right? But you and I both know the billionaires don't know what's going on, never mind me. But I do have some very pointed thoughts from my broker/realtor years for 18 of those 32 years. First of all, the average 50-year average interest rates are in the 7s. I don't want to state exactly. It's like 7.2 or 7 point something. Yet we have an affordability issue right now, right? Because of the big jump in interest rates. Here's what I specifically be telling sellers right now, very specifically. They're listening to the media scream, don't sell, right? I would be specifically pointing out that the buyers, especially during holiday seasons, quite frankly, opposite of what realtors usually think, this is when the serious buyers come out. They're not out tire kicking and just poking around with the interest rates in the 7s and certainly not in the 8s, right? So you have only the serious buyers looking, but understand that the 50-year average is about in the 7s. Also, it's only the 3rd time in 50 years we've had an affordability challenge. And it's not just interest rate related. You have all kinds of chaos right now in the market in the media's exacerbating that. And you need to be the guide. That's what it is. You need to be the authority and the guide to point them in the right direction, or else they are listening to the media. So that's one issue, is the interest rate issue. We can dive deeper if you want into that.
Love it. Yeah. So when you think about interest rates, I think what you shared there is a really good perspective, right? Is that there are people believe because rates have jumped so much that it's a bad time. But if you can give people, what I'm hearing you say is you can give people a more broad perspective as to what's actually happening relative to the course of history, that we're not at a bad interest rate time, right? So watching that would be one indicator. Are there other indicators that you encourage people that are maybe even investing in real estate, right? I know you guys deeply specialize there, which I would say everybody that's buying real estate is an investor. They may not see themselves that way, but when you buy a home, you are making an investment, right? Or has the potential to become if you buy it right and maintain it right. So talk to us about, like, what are some of the other indicators that you encourage your investor students and you yourselves, so I know are very much practitioners. What is it that you ask them to look for? And what do you look for when it comes to making real estate, whether it buy, sell, or investments?
Yeah. So this is not really the for the engineer brain out there. This is not the metric piece that they might be looking for. But I'll say this very generally speaking again about the variables that are out there now. Is the world, I'm being very broad, full of people that get up every single day and do whatever it takes, no matter how long it takes, to accomplish all their goals? Or more likely is it that people are listening to the media, as we alluded to earlier? They listen to the media, right? Doing all that. So as you see the chaos in the market, here's what I tell the investors and the realtors: as you see the chaos and uncertainty, celebrate it, because two things are going to happen. I remember saying this to my wife when I was actively as a realtor and broker. The lower producing realtors are going to get out of the market. So this is taking away from the sellers, putting it back in the realtor side of the court. The realtors are going to jump out of the market. They're going to be maybe flushed out, but they're going to jump out. So it's like a purging of the market. And then that lets you stand up as the authority. And again, being the authority with the seller who needs a guide during this market. So again, it's not Justin, a metric that you're going to chart. It's a metric saying, when there's chaos, when there's uncertainty, be the guide, be the authority. That makes sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I think you're right. There's kind of the herd mentality is, what are the headlines saying? Mike, the consumers around me are afraid. They're all tapping the brakes. I don't know if this is a good market for me to be a real estate agent in right now, right? Maybe I need to go do something else. What I hear you saying is, instead of running from the fire, be like a fireman and you run towards it. You be like, there's opportunity in there, right? And if you're a fireman and there's a fire, there is opportunity. Your job is to save people from the fire, right? And so I think what I hear you saying is that think like that. Think like a fireman. Is that when there's chaos, you should be running towards it, not away from it, because there's opportunity there that other people aren't willing to serve. Other people aren't willing to go into that fire. And as a result, they won't save the people, right? So to speak, whether it be from a fire or from just the housing misinformation crisis that's happening.
Yeah, I'll give you two quick examples. 2013, I came out of the crash and people were saying, for two reasons. One, you just went through that, Chris. You're not going to go through it again. And two, the market was uncertain. You're not buying. You shouldn't be buying. You shouldn't be buying. I doubled down and hammered as fast and as aggressive as I could. Okay. COVID, realtors and investors, March and April, not May, June, July, because that got to be a hot market for sellers, but March and April, the sellers were confused, afraid, and they needed a guide. So I, again, screamed to our community, realtors and investors, now's the time to double down. At the same time, Justin, people in the realtor space and investor space, just like I'm in, went out of business. Closed the doors. They thought, oh, I can't do this. So yes, I'm screaming that, because again, the world's not full of people that are in that 2%. Be the 2%. Get out there and be the authority. So then when the market starts to climb up a little bit in your favor, man, oh man, it's a windfall. Well, everybody else is wondering what happened. Yes, I 100% agree.
Well, you look at it's all relative, right? I tell people at times, like, if you were a real estate agent in Venezuela, you would literally die trying to get here to the United States because there's so much opportunity here. Yet here we look around and we're like, well, compared to 2021, there's no opportunity, right? Everyone's tapping the brakes. Everyone's got too good of a rate. And it's like, no, that's not true. Not everyone has the luxury to time their buy, their sale, or their investment with perfect interest rates. There are opportunities out there. And yes, point well taken is that you have to be willing to educate people when there's a massive amount of miseducation or misinformation. And that's what brings the loyalty, right? That's what actually, people need a guide. I love how you said that term. People need a guide, not when times are super clear and it's easy. People need a guide when it's difficult. So don't be running from it, run into it.
Yeah, and you know what the difference is between now and 08? A lot of people say, well, we're going to have a crash. Well, okay, there's a lot of differences, but there's a huge difference that realtors should be aware of. And that is, there are an enormous amount of properties with low interest rates with equity. That's the difference. In 08, they're all over leverage with equity, and some of them need to sell. That's where we get our business as investors. Some of them need to sell from a financial standpoint. It's a second home, or they're a burnt out landlord and they don't want to go through it again because the media is scaring them. Those properties exist. And guess what? They can afford to pay you as a realtor because there's a bunch of equity sitting in that home. Totally different.
Well, that's a really interesting point that probably goes back to my initial question, which is, what are the metrics you should be looking for? Which is people who are going through life changes. They can't make their payment for whatever reason, whether it be health, whether it be job related, whatever, but there's equity in the home. And maybe they're in a position now where they can't access the equity, right? They didn't get a HELOC, don't have the ability to actually have that equity be able to save the home. And so now they need out. And like you said, they can pay you. You can actually help them get out without the bank taking it back.
Yeah, and you want to know where to find them as a realtor? Buy the list that says who bought between. I'll pick some years for you. Who bought between 18 and March of 20? Who bought in that
Okay.
piece of time right there because they had a huge run up, and go spend some time with them. That's a pond you can fish in. See, this is why there's so many pockets for realtors that want to get aggressive and investors that other people aren't even going to think about. They just listen to the masses and go, oh, I'm afraid. No, there's huge opportunity in these pockets right now. You just got to know what pond to fish in.
So great tip, right? So you're looking for distressed properties during times where there was a lot of run up, right? So 2018 to 2020, like you said. Where's your favorite place to find these lists, Chris?
We have our resources are on our website, but we use like FreedomSoft, PropStream. They're available to everybody.
Mhm.
And you can even go old school. There was a company we still buy lists from called Melissa Data that you would literally buy the list and import it into your own system. But they're out there. You can buy a list of anything. I can buy a list of from 18 to 20 with little to no equity on purpose, looking for an investment. So all kinds of opportunities there for sure. And by the way, the properties are great properties. They're really distressed sellers, right? To your point, not the actual property itself. So it's just huge opportunity.
I want to share a strategy with that, right? Once you identify the list, right? I'm sure you have great scripts of how to make that really come across not as a solicitor, but an extension of help, right? People are already having a difficult time. You don't need to convince them of that, right? Do you have anything? In fact, let's just go there now. What would you say? You've got a list. Now what?
Yeah. My script doesn't change, and I teach the entire Wicked Smart community this. I just want to know, and this should be not new to realtors. I want to have the conversation just like if you and I were neighbors and I saw your sign go up. Hey, Justin, where are you going? Oh, how come? How soon do you need to be there? And what if it doesn't sell? Those 4 questions, where, why, when, and what if it doesn't happen, tells me their entire motivation, right? Well, it has to happen. I have a job transfer. Or it doesn't matter if it happens. I don't really need to sell. You'll get the answer, and then you fix for the problem or you fix for the goal they're trying to accomplish. That's it. Those are the 4 things.
You find out how motivated they are really quickly.
Yeah.
I love that. So let's repeat that really quickly for everybody that's listening at home and maybe didn't get a chance to take notes. So it's where are you going? Was that the first question?
Yep. Why?
Why?
You could say throw why in anywhere.
Okay.
When you need to be there by.
Okay.
And what if it doesn't sell? That's the key.
Okay.
Like I talked to a guy this morning. He said, no, Chris, because I buy creatively. No, I'd rather just sell. And I chuckled. And I said, no, all my sellers want to do that. But there's some challenges going on in the market between fractured closings and 17% of buyers qualifying. There's those going on. So if you don't sell, let's chat. And then voila, he was a FISBO, by the way.
Cool. Yeah. And you're building relationships, right? Is that you're, hey, look, I'm here to help you. I can help you through this. And stay in touch with them. That's probably one of the bigger things, right? Is that you actually have a process in place for continuing that relationship and being available for people to continue to trust you and like you. One thing that I'll put a plug in here, the company that I represent, Pro Insight, what we do is we help people to build relationships with professionals who know these things are happening, right? I'll put actually a little link up here for anybody that's interested in Pro Insight membership. What we do is that we again, help you to build relationships with attorneys, with CPAs, with financial advisors, people who know that maybe someone has a life change happening and they want the ability to get warm introductions to those people. So love it, man. I love that topic. Let's talk a little bit about, this other topic that you wanted to share with us today is how to navigate a slower real estate market, right? We've talked a little bit about that. Are there any other tips that we may have not covered that would really help somebody kind of stand out as an agent in this market?
I'll tell you what's huge right now. And that is, and it's a bias comment, but it's true. And that is when you sit with a seller or a buyer, but let's go seller for a second. And you are able to put your hat on morally and ethically that says, tell me your situation. I'll either sell it as a realtor or I can buy it. Now you step into the creative real estate world. And you have their best interests at heart. A, they're going to know that. And it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. B, you're going to be an authority. I can tell you to this day, we're East Coast to West Coast. We have very few realtors in our community. And the ones that are standouts in their community, because what do you think the seller is going to do after they've talked to a realtor that knows how to sell and buy it? They're going to do the best thing for the seller. They're going to tell someone about it. Major way to skyrocket your authority, especially in a market like this, because you are going to run into sellers that, for whatever reason, can't afford a commission, or for whatever reason, don't want to afford a commission, or for whatever reason are overpriced. There are all kinds of things that don't fit in the realtor box that then you can pivot and be a buyer. and do so without using your money or your credit. That's what we do.
And the reason why you guys have been like Inc. 5000, right, a number of times, really you help people really understand that creative financing, right, to be able to
Yeah,
go in and do that. And it's really such a powerful arrow in any agent's quiver. Is that you become a commodity when you can say, I can put a sign in the yard, yeah, and everybody else too. But if it's like, look, we're going to try this way, if not, I can buy it, and you actually have creative ways to do that. Boy, what a differentiator. And not only are you benefiting the client, but you go from being facilitator of a real estate transaction to being actually the owner of the real estate transaction, right? And all of a sudden you've really
essentially. Yep.
put yourself at a spot to where you're not just earning a commission, you're earning long-term equity when you pick up those properties correctly.
Yeah, and I remember like it was yesterday when in my 5-year heyday time as a broker owner before I sold to Coldwell Banker, we were doing 100 homes a year. And I look back, oh man, all the expireds I had, I sold like 72% of them, whatever it was. So there was deals being missed, all the buyers that couldn't qualify, all those deals that didn't fit inside my box, I could have capitalized on. And to your point, not just capitalize on a transaction, a one-time pay transaction, but to actually get paid and build wealth and get paid 3 times the way we do it. That's a big, big difference. Yeah. So I was saying, be the moral and ethical person for the seller, but then on your side, to your point, yeah, you're creating a whole different lifestyle.
And oftentimes I think where real estate agents get stuck is they say, I don't have the time, the capacity to learn and do all those things. And I want you to expand your thinking a little bit, is that there are people in your marketplace you maybe know already that you could attract into your organization who could specialize in that. Or maybe they specialize in the buying and selling, and you specialize, working with, with Chris and his team to really become, the creative financing expert that does the purchases. It doesn't have to be just you is the point, right? Is you can build a division out of
Yeah.
your company, which could be one talented person that knows how to deal with that. Let's not overthink when I say division, right? It doesn't mean like a new corporate headquarters in some other state. Like this is very simple, folks, that like you just find someone that specializes in maybe what you currently specialize in, you step in and learn the other side of this. And now you have multiple ways to serve homeowners. And how is it that people make more money? Well, they have more solutions to help more people. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the
Yeah,
recipe, right?
absolutely. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'll give you 2 examples real quick. So to your point, you can be the person that learns it. Great. Add that to your, add that quiver to your bag of tricks. And then you can say, you know what, Chris, I do X amount of volume and I just want to run in my lane. Good. Then get to know one of our associates that are likely in your market and get a great relationship with them. And they'll pay you like an annuity type income as they create these paydays with you and your seller. Either way, you come across as the authority. And I'll put a little teaser in here. If you just learned it for yourself to be sort of for your family to buy your next home this way, you can buy homes between 0 and 4% the way we're buying right now. 0 and 4%. Think about that. I don't know if we're going to see that in our time, Justin, but those are some good rates.
Yeah, that's that those kind of rates are the reason why some consumers think that they're trapped inside their house. They don't dare move, right? Whereas when you can step in and offer creative financing that's similar to that, you've now given people an option. People who felt captive in their current situation, now all of a sudden you've given them an option. And again, fastest way to make more money is to solve more problems. Fast way to make even more money is to solve bigger problems. So I love it. And what I love about what you and your team do, Chris, is you really empower investors or real estate agents who want to either connect people to investors, as you mentioned, or to be investors. You empower them to have the knowledge to be able to offer more solutions to more people. And I do believe that there is going to be a growing need. I think the part of the economy has not been telling the whole story about what's happening with people. You do see credit card rates skyrocketing right now, and not everybody's going to be able to maintain the lifestyle that they have. And for many people, that means they're going to be in a bad spot. There's going to be big opportunities to help people out of that. And at the same time, you picking up some properties with some great equity and situated really pretty, coming into, even brighter economic days.
Yeah, I think I don't know when they're going to hear this, and of course it'll live out there longer, but running into what I think might be a historic year in a lot of ways, what better time than to just learn the skill set? You'll have it for life. Nobody can take it from you. You choose to take it wherever you want after that. I'm going to buy my family home. I'm going to help my clients. Doesn't matter. Learn the skill set so you understand how to do it.
I think I was listening to one of my mentors over the weekend, Alex Hermosi, and he was talking about how sometimes we don't do something because we don't know if it's going to work. In fact, I think it's the anxiety of many entrepreneurs of what if I'm working on this and it doesn't work? And his
Right.
advice was, it's absolutely working because it's growing you,
Yeah.
right? You might not be able to turn this into a property next month, but as you said, Chris, is that it's not about that. It's about you developing a skill set to be more powerful, and nobody can take that from you. Nobody can take that from you.
Yeah, I remember this was 2010 or 11. I was in the green room backstage in Hawaii, and Robert Kiyosaki and we weren't sharing. We were both speakers that day, and I think we were talking about headaches. And he said, "Those are great." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You become smarter every time you have a headache." And now that was just the analogy we were using, but we get smarter, we get sharper when we go through that stuff. So yeah, try.
Yeah. Talk us through really quickly, Chris, and I've got one more question for you. But what's the entry point? What's the starting point? I know you guys have a number of courses and coaching programs that people can go through. If you were to say people that's a residential real estate agent right now that believes that there's a wave of opportunities coming, which I definitely think that there are.
Yeah.
What would be the first skill set? What would be the entry point into your world that everybody should take a look at?
Take the free book. We set you up with a link. I mean, it's not even shipping. Get the free book, because I'm big on free, Justin. Right? If you're an agent, go, it's free. I'll look and see if this fits in my world. And then YouTube, we have, I don't know, 250, 300 deals. Some of those came from realtors. You can look exactly what we're doing. All you got to do, Wicked Smart Books, and it's, I think it's Justin one.
Yep. I just put it right here. In fact, Vianne just put it on there for us as well. So I love it.
Sweet. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, take the free book. And then if after you go through your due diligence there, you want to jump into some of the free stuff we run every week, we run free stuff. Come check us out. That's all. It's simple move.
I love it. Okay. Final question, Chris, which is this: you're a big thinker. You've proven that year after year after year. What is it that Chris Prefontaine does? By the way, I'm out of the Northwest. The name Prefontaine makes all of us smile because of the great Steve Prefontaine.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys are related at all, but if so,
I have a brother, Steve, who's alive and well, but I don't know if we're technically related.
So question for you: what is it that Chris does to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to expand your possibilities? What does that look like for you? Teach us.
Yeah, it's reaching out to. This is great. I love the name of your podcast for that reason. That reaching out to people that are beyond what I'm doing. Because if we don't, unfortunately, like even if we're hanging out with people about the same success, we're going backwards because things are moving just at the speed of light. So reaching out to people that are big and beyond what you're thinking. And that is sometimes uncomfortable. So getting super, super comfortable with being uncomfortable, almost welcoming it.
I love it. Yeah. Sometimes we're hesitant to get into those rooms because we feel like we don't belong. And those are exactly the rooms that we want to be in, right? Yeah. Those are the rooms where we're growing.
Don't be the smartest person.
Yeah, I love it. Chris, always such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for taking time today to pour into each of us. To everybody listening here today, again, take Chris up on his offer, like the free book. Start there. Get to know these guys. They're world-class. They really are. I've known them for years. They do such a good job. They give away so much free content. And you might realize that there's some bigger preparations you can be doing right now over the holiday season while everyone else is overdosing on eggnog. You can be overdosing on how to really take advantage of this market in a whole new way. So please don't miss this opportunity. Chris, always such a pleasure. And my final request of everybody here today are these 3 simple words. You know what they are. Go think bigger. Thanks for helping us do that today, Chris.
Love it.
You found value in anything that you heard here today, do me a favor and just take a quick screenshot of this episode. Tag me in it on social media. That will give you the heads up to create more content like this in future episodes. Also, if you are wanting to build your wealth advisory team in less than 30 days that gives you 2 to 4 professional referrals every month, go to proinsight.com or you can reach out to me directly on social media and I'll